Hey everyone! First off, if you're wondering why the quality of this is a lot poorer than my usual weekend videos, it is because I'm filming this on my laptop. Because this is just like a quick thoughts video on the new Swedish House Mafia and Weekend collaboration, Moth To A Flame. I did not film a reaction to this. I was considering filming a reaction to it, but just to be honest with y'all, as much as I love reacting to the Weeknd's music, I think I'm only gonna keep those reactions to his work, like album work in terms of like his solo work and that type of sense, because I'm not gonna lie, like I love the reactions, but I also do value having experiences on my own, like a more intimate setting like that, because The Weeknd is still like my favorite artist. And so, it is nice from time to time, especially with songs like this, just to experience them, on my own, or in a more intimate setting. That's why I didn't do a reaction to this song. But I have to say, I definitely do want to talk about it. This song has been teased for a little while now. I think like a month and a half or so. I believe Swedish House Mafia, I think they did a performance for the MTV VMA. I think it was the VMAs. Don't count me on that if it was the VMAs or not. But in their performance, at the end of it, they played a snippet of a new song, and it was this. And all it was like, I believe, the beginning of the song, and you just heard like a moth to a flame, the Weeknd vocals, and everyone was like, oh, like they're collaborating with Abel, the Weeknd. And obviously, I was excited, and I will say I'm not the most biggest Swedish House Mafia fan by any chance. But if people know the kind of music I make and the kind of music I really love outside of R&B and hip hop, that's mainly what I have talked about and explored on this channel in terms of music. But if you look outside of especially with the music I make, Swedish House Mafia is very up my alley. And also something else is in terms of the Weeknd's collaborations, a lot of my favorite ones of his are his more electronic ones. Nocturnal with Disclosure is one of my favorite songs of all time. I think lyrically that is one of Abel's absolute best songs. Lyrically, that song is beautiful, and I always love The Weeknd lyrically, just because he offers such a unique perspective on relationships and stuff, and just how he views things and stuff. He's a very unique artist, which is part of why it's just so amazing how big Biggie's gotten. But just his lyrics on that song are so great, and I think that Abel fits over these more electronic type productions, like these dance productions or house type all these drum and bass. Obviously, he explored on Hearts to Love, on After Hours, and of course the After Hours title track has an electronic type of feel to it. I think he fits really, really well over that type of production, and with legends like Swedish House Mafia, I mean, I was excited. And there's been some snippets released of this over the past week or so, and I think Swedish House Mafia on their Instagram story a week ago posted a pretty long snippet of this, and I remember hearing that, and I was like, yeah, this is going to be a good song. So I've heard it now, and it's around 12:51 a.m. on October 22nd when I'm filming this. And I have to say, I have listened to the song almost a dozen times already, and I have watched the music video for it. And y'all, listen, I understand that some people, and listen, I think this is a fair thing to say. I'm not trying to say that oh, this is incorrect, but obviously I am a very big Weeknd fan, and the type of production Swedish Mafia does is very up my alley. So of course I'm gonna naturally gravitate towards this heavily. So I understand that, but and I get it that it just came out, and I have only heard it a few times, obviously, but I have to say, I have listened to The Weeknd so much, and a lot of his collaborations that I love, for so long now, that I know how I feel. And I have to be honest with you, this is already instantly, you want to label it a collaboration or a feature, whatever you want to label it as, if you just combine them together, it is easily one of the top 5 best ones he's ever done, in my opinion. This song is absolutely unbelievable. It is so incredible. I love this song so much. It is so goddamn good. I mean, where do we begin with it? I guess we'll start with the production because lyrically, I want to go into that like really deeply. Um, so I guess they get the production out of the way. The production by Swedish House Mafia, and I don't know if the Weeknd helped with any production because like he has been getting more into like helping with production. He always has, obviously, but he's helped more with it more recently on stuff like After Hours and his this New Dawn era. But on this one, oh my god, the production just by Swedish House Mafia, assuming it's just them, they killed it. The production on this is so crazy good. It is so amazing. Just to start off with, like, the thing with electronic music that I've always told people, part of why I love it is that to me it's one of the most meditative forms of music. And I know saying that, some people may be confused because obviously, electronic music, when you think of electronic music, you think of like dance music or like EDM or, house music or drum bass, like, stuff like that, or, like, downtown music, like, and I understand with that sort of stuff, it's very like loud and, soundscapey and stuff like that. It's like an in-your-face genre of music a lot of the time. But, my favorite subgenre of electronic music besides house music is ambient music. And part of why I love ambient music so much, and part of why I've explored into my own music, is because I think that it is one of the most like vulnerable forms of music and songwriting, because it forces you, the listener, to really like focus in on what the sounds are, because something that other genre, and this is not a knock against those genres, other genres, because I love other genres, like rock and hip hop, and folk and country music, like stuff like that, I love those genres, obviously. But something that I think electronic music has the benefit of, because of the way that you make it, is that it really forces you to focus in on the way that the song like progresses in a sense of like production wise. And with the electronic music, I love it so much because the way that it progresses, I like really like melodic type of electronic music, and that's part of what I love about the production of this song, because the Simpsonness sound so like, I got an email from the Weeknd, website about this, so I'm kind of copying what they said. But the Simpsons are very like menacing sounding, and it has like a gritty sort of sound. Like the very end has like sort of like fuzzy, kind of gritty, distorted sound at the end. And when you go to the lyrical content of the song, it fits the vibe. We'll get to the lyrical side later, but just the production, like it has a sort of like gritty, sort of like feel to it, and that's very like ominous in a way. And when you watch the music video, it also works because the music video is very ominous, and it gives me a lot of like sort of like Ridley Scott kind of vibes. Which is kind of a coincidence because I'm wearing an Alien t-shirt right now, which kind of is interesting because I got so many Prometheus vibes from that music video. We'll get to the music video in a second, but something about the production side again, just to get back into it. It works so well in the song because it has that melodicness to it, but it also has that sort of like gritty, sort of like eerie, sort of like sense to it. And then when the drums come in with the hi-hats and all that stuff, like with the beat drops and that chorus, and you have those like glittery like synths in the background, but you have that kind of like gritty like bass to it. It is so mesmerizing. And the thing with the meditative side to stuff like this dance music sort of feel, part of why I still think it's really meditative is because it's dance music is very like synchronized, like because like the beat of this is like like kind of have that thumping, and then you have the hi-hats, like you can very easily lock into like the groove of the song and stuff. And when you have the lyric side to this, which is the Weeknd always is very introspective in terms of like relationships and specifically toxic type of relationships and stuff. And when you have like production like that, and you're able to just like focus in on like the way it sounds and like that rhythm and that groove it has, you really lock in as a listener into like the way it, like like you really lock in, you're able to like really focus in on the sounds that it's going for. And when you have lyrics like this, I think it's really like meditative in a way, because you get so locked in, and as a listener you really start to like digest it and like soak it in like a lot. And with this song, I mean, it just does that. I mean, the synth work in this is so beautiful. I don't think it's a synth, but it has this like dun, 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 like that is so just it's so like intoxicating and catchy. And then when you have like that do like, oh my god, with the drums and just the bass, oh my goodness, it is so great. And something that I love about it too is that it flows so well with the Weeknd's lyrics. And obviously I'm assuming that Swedish Mafia wrote this song and did the production for it, and then I would assume they contacted Abel and were like, listen, like, would you like to collaborate with us? When, probably they gave him a song and he was like, oh my god, like, yeah, let's do this. But part of what I love about it is one of my favorite moments is towards the end, they just let the instrumental go like by itself like 20 seconds or so. And that is so perfect from a production sense, because the whole song, you have Abel, like singing over it and stuff, and you're really taking it in, and just like the massiveness of the production, and you're just looking there with all the lyrics, and it's very overwhelming. And then you just have like the whole production with the beat going and that groove, all of it going just by itself for like a period of time towards the end. And as a listener, like that, it feels so grand and so satisfying because of that. And I love it. I love that. It's so rewarding as a listener also. I mean, I think production wise that this just is incredible. I guess to get into it lyrically also. Obviously the song is called I'm looking at my phone, by the way, in case you're wondering where I'm reading lyrics from. So obviously, it starts like a moth to a flame, which is a perfect title in my opinion for the song, because the song, obviously I understand, and I can understand if some people, have, if they're, obviously this isn't like something entirely, new for if you're able to, get into it. I understand that, but the song is basically about, an ex-lover of his, and, how, they've both, gone their separate ways. And now this, ex-lover, or, ex, whatever you want to call it, of, The Weeknd, is of someone else now. And, and he talks about how, like, let's just go to the lyrics, like, it's like a moth to a flame. I'll pull you in, I'll pull you back to what you need initially. It's just one call away, and you'll leave him. You're loyal to me, but this time I'll let you be. Because he seems like, I guess we're going to go into the pre-chorus now, because he seems like he's good for you, and he makes you feel like you should, and all your friends say he's the one. There's one for you. It's true. And then the chorus is just so, like, listen, I love The Weeknd. I can't lie. Like, these lyrics, like, obviously, I just gravitate towards them. I can't lie. Like, but does he know you call me when he sleeps? But does he know the pictures that you keep? But does he know the reasons that you cry? Oh, tell me, does he know where your heart lies? Where it truly lies? I love it, it says, where your heart lies, and he says it again, like, where it truly lies. It's like, listen, I get it. It's toxic. Everyone knows that. I'm not going to deny that. But from a songwriting standpoint, like, it's just like, I love it. I absolutely love it. Obviously I get it that, like, The Weeknd has gotten into stuff like this before, and I get it. I understand, but just the way that he goes into it is just so interesting, because, like, The Weeknd, how he explores his ego in his music has always been very honest. That's the thing that, has hit me so hard when I first got into his music, and especially when you listen to stuff like After Hours. He's so honest, and I think that that's really refreshing. And obviously, he's respectful. At the same time, people talks about, obviously I know, After Hours, that a lot of lyrics, we can assume who they may be, we know who they're about. But at the same time, like, he does it in a way that creates mystery still, and intrigue. And as a songwriter, and when you're composing music like this, like that mystery is what's so important. When you look at, like, the filmmakers that The Weeknd loves, like, let's just use a very popular example, like David Lynch, who is one of my favorites of all time. I've talked about before, like Twin Peaks, and specifically Twin Peaks: The Return is my favorite thing of art ever created. And something that Lynch does is he explores a lot of similar ideas, but the way that he does them is always a bit different, and he always has that mystery and that intrigue, because you don't want to explain everything, and something that I was recently watching the Dead and Hip Hop. Shout out to Dead and Hip Hop, one of my favorite channels of all time. They were just doing for the Patreon a weekend week. I think it was last week, and in their video for House of Balloons, I think it was FIFO who said this. It might have. It was. I think it was FIFO who said this. But apologies if it wasn't. But he said that he has, The Weeknd creates these narratives, but leaves so much out of it still to create like the mystery of it and the intrigue there and the sort of fascination with, what he's talking about. But you still are able to follow it because the way that he explains it is so deep and like emotional, and like it just works. And with this, like, it just pulls me in. Like, I know he says like, I'll pull you in, I'll play back to what you need initially. I know but like, but listen, I know that was a corny thing to say, but listen, I love the song. Okay. So, and just like the chorus, like, but does he know you call me when he sleeps? Like, does he know the pictures? Like, he just I just like that like cockiness, to put it that way, like that. And I say that with love, obviously. It just like it just worked. Like, it just works so well. Then what does he say? Then he says in the next verse, yeah, you should be with him. I'll let you go from time. You should stay with him because he seems like he's good for you. Makes you feel like you should. And all your friends see is the one there's one for you. It's true. And like, he's recognizing that, this situation, that this this ex person of his is probably like a better thing, it's like a better fit, it's working out well, it's like a happy relationship, but like deep down inside, he's like listen, like I know that, like, where does your heart truly lie though, like like do you think about me and like keeping the photos and stuff and those memories, and stuff. And then when you go into sort of like the outro, you go, right here from baby where it truly lies, in my bed, babe, where it truly lies, in my heart, babe, where it truly lies, where it truly lies. And then you get like that instrumental portion, and then the ending is like where it truly lies, and it's just like I just works so well with the production, like I said, like that sort of like meditative feel that electronic music like this has, where you can really sink into like where the production is heading in the song, and then you have lyrics like this that are just so just, they're so good. Like I love this song so much. Like it I know this is a very like rough video, and I'm sorry if I'm not like getting as deep into like the themes of it as I should. I just love it, and the music video is also very interesting. It's a very sexual video and a very sci-fi video, and the reason why it reminds me of like Alien, coincidentally, I'm literally coincidentally wearing this, like Alien and Prometheus, like that Ridley Scott kind of vibe, is because it reminds me of Ridley Scott, because Ridley Scott, the sci-fi, he has a very like dark sort of style to his visuals with his sci-fi work. And you have like these like people that are like kind of like pale and covered in like dust or sand or whatever, and then with the sexual stuff, like you have at points like things like going into their mouths, sort of like the xenomorph stuff and Alien, and like the impregnation stuff with that, like just stuff like that. Like clearly there's like a Ridley Scott sort of like that sort of like sci-fi feel with the video. I love it, and I love like in the video, like the Weeknd is just like just in like black with like the sunglasses and stuff, and like clearly like I read in the email I got, like it was like hiding his eyes from like the flame or whatever, and that's beautiful too. And the thing with the Moth to a Flame thing, I was going to get into this with the lyric of that, like why it's so great is obviously moths they're drawn to the light. And the thing, like a moth to a flame, it's it's drawn to that light, but obviously that's going to kill it. It's going to light on fire and destroy it. And I think like what he's trying to say there, and I know this is not the most deepest concept ever, but like the idea of like your heart gravitating always towards back to the situation that is up in flames, and in a sense like romantically, obviously like you just keep going back to it because like that's calling to you. And when you go to the video, it seems like these group of people are like surrounded by this light, and there's lots of like sex going on, and like kissing and like finger sucking and very sensual and sexual stuff. And I don't know entirely what, like, obviously there's probably a lot of like visual stuff, like maybe some religious stuff, and who fuck it, in Alien stuff there's a lot of like religious stuff also, and just very like God and Queen and stuff like that, visuals and stuff too. And so probably it means a lot. The Weeknd's videos in, of course, Swedish Mafia also helped this video, obviously. They got directors and writers involved and, concept creators and stuff, obviously. But the way that it just comes together always for The Weeknd, that's what makes him so intriguing to me, is because he makes songs like this where he's exploring these like romantic ideas and these themes and these relationship ideas and very just like honestly like human emotions, because he's just so honest, and he's a very genuine artist. That's the thing. That's like, I understand that people don't like his music. I completely understand that. But just in terms of just the way that he expresses himself, it's very genuine to me and human. And that's what makes so many of his works just brilliant to me, is because he pushes the envelope of R&B and, now getting into, pop and stuff. Like he's pushing the boundaries of it, always to me in a songwriting sense, and production wise, he's really starting to come into his own in terms of his like truest like inspiration sonically. And I'm not trying to say like his past work was back to, obviously, like everyone, if people don't know, like my favorite Weeknd work is Thursday from the trilogy. So I obviously love that stuff, but now he's getting into like that 80s, like that disco, so it seems like that disco sort of like grand synthy type style, and of course he was getting into this with that electronic feel, which was explored on After Hours also, and other collaborations he did, obviously, like Nocturnal and stuff, and even a song like Why I Love a Cashmere Cat, and of course Lost in the Fire with Christopherstein. It just like I think it's great. Like, I think it's great. I think that Abel on this electronic production is great, and the production again is just so great. It has like, and then what it works about it lyrically is like the lyrically, it's very dark. Like I like at the end of the day, like these are unhealthy feelings. Obviously. That Abel explores, and I'm not trying to say that as like like a judgmental thing. I'm just saying that, like, obviously, but the thing is, like, I think Abel knows that, obviously, but the thing is, like, for me, like, it just resonates with me so much because it's so genuine, and it just like it just hits so hard, because that's something with art. There's a lot of art that obviously not everyone is going to relate to, but like if you feel it and you understand what the concepts that an artist is trying to go for, if it works, it works, and if it hits, and if you feel and you feel it, that's something that when you go back to the trilogy, and the Kissland stuff, and some of the Be Behind the Madness stuff, and all of his music, obviously, he explores certain ideas like like sex and drugs, and that's the thing that I've always told people, like like I've never done hard drugs before, but like I understand completely what he's trying to go for, because he with the drug. When he talks about drugs and stuff, because he conveys that feeling, so well. And it's very human and stuff. And obviously, with regards to like, sex and relationships, the way that he explores it, he explores situations that are obviously, a lot of the time, not the healthiest, but the way that he explores them is so genuine. And then that's the thing. It's like, there's so much art out there that explores concepts that aren't like, in like, like a way, like, like the healthiest of concepts, like even like in film and stuff also, this is okay. But if it explores it in a way that is genuine, and it understands the concepts, and it has like a respect for like it explores it in a way that's very, open and honest, and really dives into it. I think that can be some of the most powerful forms of art, I think for example, I think that's why I like the horror genre, because it's October, it's Halloween time, basically, that's part of why I think like people like horror so much, because it explores these very disturbing, concepts, that are not, explored like that in our society, and they do it in these very big and theatrical ways, obviously, and it's like a film, films and stuff, and TV shows, and it's a way for people to, explore, stuff like that. And of course, there's a lot of horror that's just stupid and fun, obviously, of course, but I don't know, like, I just, like, I think that, regardless of, stuff, from, like, I don't know, like, I just, like, my opinion on, like, stuff like this is, like, like, there's a lot of people out there that, like, it's always, just to kind of, explain this now, like, there's people out there that, like, I understand if, like, they don't like The Weeknd because of the stuff that he talks about. I get that. Like, not everyone's going to like this type of lyrical content. I understand that. But I don't know. I don't think that people should dismiss art ever because they can't relate to it. You know what I mean? Like, or they don't think it's like, the most like, exploring concepts that are so, toxic in a way. Like, I don't know, like, I don't think people should just like, push against that, in terms of art, you know what I mean? So, I don't know, like with stuff like that, like I don't know, like I think with this song, like it just works so well, like in the songwriting concept. Um, part of why I'm explaining this is because, I understand that, like, The Weeknd talks a lot about situations like this and those relationships. It's just that the reason why I still love it, and I still do, is because clearly he's growing also in a way, like, especially like in After Hours, like the way that, like, he views situations like this is clear. He's clearly maturing, like that was the biggest thing on After Hours for me that stuck out. Was the lyric content is my favorite part about After Hours, is he has matured a lot clearly. And when you look at, his, interviews and stuff, like clearly, he's growing. And I'm really proud of, Abel, obviously, for that. And just like the way he explores all these, themes, like he keeps improving on it, honestly, in my opinion. He genuinely does, because he writes songs like these, like lyrically, that just explore it in such like introspective ways. And makes like, the listener sort of like think about the ideas. Like, he asked the chorus is just like asking like questions, like, does he know, like, he calls it, you call me when he sleeps, and all this stuff, like, it just like really brings the listener in, and that's part of what the mystery and the intrigue is, like, as a listener and as a consumer of, media like this, or art, whatever you want to call it, you just I really like stuff like this because it makes you think, so, I guess that's all I have to say about this, because I'm starting to ramble. And I'm going to leave this unedited because I'm not going to do any editing for this because it's on my laptop and stuff. And, I'm just going to upload it as it is. But listen, I love this song. I think it's fantastic. I absolutely love it. The production is, again, just so up my alley. It just, oh my God, like the beat drop also, like the bounce it has is so good. And like the hi-hats, oh my God, the cloud, whatever they are, like it works so well. And it fits the lyrical content of it well, because, it has this sort of like shiny glimmerness to it, but also that darkness and stuff. And just this like, and it's so melodic also. And it just, oh my God, it just works so well. And the lyrical content, obviously I adore it. I love the song. And I am excited to see whatever features that Abel has up his sleeve. I know that there's the big rumor there's a Michael Jackson collaboration coming out. Okay, I will say right now, in case anyone is still watching this video, if that is actually true, that there is going to be new posthumous Michael Jackson music, and there's going to be a song with The Weeknd, I will react to that. I will. Okay. But I'm just saying, I'm excited to see whatever features he does. And maybe I'll come back on here and talk about them again. Like this. Obviously, I love reacting. But it's nice to just like talk in front of a camera and just have fun. And so, yeah, so I thank you to everyone who watched this whole thing. I know this was almost like a half hour long. I was not expecting to go on for this long. I think at the beginning of this video I said, like, I'll be quick, but obviously that was not true. But I don't know. I love talking about music and stuff I love, and art, and just being a nerd. So thank you for anyone who appreciates that. Thank you to everyone again who watches the videos or supports me. I know I said a lot, and I know it's probably getting tired. But I really like means the world to me that people like listening to me, and in my perspective on things like this, especially for stuff like, The Weeknd and his music, and, just music in general, that, I love so much. So just thank you to everyone for support as always. Just thank you. You are all beautiful people. And I hope everyone's doing well and, staying safe and healthy. The holidays are coming up soon, so I hope everyone is, staying safe with that. Obviously, Halloween's coming up soon, so that's exciting. And, yeah, so I just hope everyone's doing well. Thank you to anyone who's watched any of this video or the whole thing. Thank you. Thank you for any support. And, yeah, I'll wrap it up with that. I love this song, Moth To A Flame by Swedish Mafia and The Weeknd is incredible, and is one of my favorite collaborations The Weeknd has done. And I love it. If anyone else has any thoughts they want to share on the song, please leave them down below. I would love to talk about this song with y'all. And again, thank you for any support. I hope everyone, again, does well. And I will see you all later. Yeah, woo!